Hello, everybody. Welcome to fifth grade, the teaching project of growth and development.
Alrighty, so we're going to start off with talking about puberty. Puberty usually happens with girls between the ages of 8 and 13, and for boys it starts between the ages of 9 and 15. It usually takes a few years to get started, and everybody starts at their own pace, but it's not bad if you experience it later than others. So here's for females. You usually start developing breasts, and you do get your period. Puberty starts between the ages of 8 and 13, like I said before, and hormones cause the ovaries to start making another hormone called estrogen. Together, these hormones prepare a girl's body to start her periods and be able to become pregnant someday.
And we have a video, so we are going to show that.
What boys want to know about puberty?
Hold on, wrong video. We'll see that one in a second. All right.
That's fine, we'll skip the video.
1 second. All right, here we go. Sorry for the technical delay.
Are you normal? Girls and puberty. What is normal? Lots of kids want to be normal. You might think that normal means that everybody is the same. But when it comes to puberty and growing up, there is more than one.
Okay, so let me restart it.
Are you normal? Girls and puberty. What is normal? Lots of kids want to be normal. You might think that normal means that everybody is the same. But when it comes to puberty and growing up, there is more than one kind of normal. Doctors call it the wide range of normal. So it can be normal for one girl to begin breast development and want a bra at age 8. But another girl can start breast development as late as her 14th birthday and still be considered normal. And it's also normal for lots of girls to want bras because their friends are wearing them, especially when girls have to change together, like in the school locker room. There may be other girls, developing or not, who don't want to wear bras. They just don't like them. So the body changes of puberty, developing breasts, underarm and pubic hair, hips that get wider, can start happening for girls as young as age 8 or as old as age 14. A first period, also called menstruation, will happen for many girls around age 12, but it can happen as young as 9 or as late as a girl's 16th birthday and still be considered normal. That means a girl can get her first period when she's as young as a 3rd grader or as old as a 10th grader. Girls who start puberty when they're younger may feel embarrassed that they are the first among their friends to need a bra and get their periods. But girls who develop later may feel worried and embarrassed that they are growing more slowly and wish puberty would speed up. Which one are you? We're all together in the wide range of normal.
All right. So that was that video. Let me go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so next we have males, and male puberty starts between the age of 9 and 15. And girls get a head start in puberty and grow taller. Most boys catch up on the height difference, but it's also important to remember that genetics play a role in height. Puberty happens on its own schedule, and eating nutritious foods and being active will help you be a kid who's strong and fit. Males normally their body grows bigger. They have voice changing and their hair sprouting. This happens between the age of 9 and 14, but keep in mind the boy's body starts when it's ready and everyone goes at its own pace. We also have another video for boys, so let me pull that up.
What boys want to know about puberty. Boys don't talk about it as much as girls, but they wonder and sometimes worry about growing up. During puberty, natural chemicals in the body called hormones tell the body to start changing. The body changes of puberty for boys include getting a growth spurt, which means a kid who's always growing starts to grow faster, getting more muscular, and noticing some other changes. More about that later. Lots of boys have questions, and we'll talk about the 3 most common questions most boys have. Number 1, when will I get my growth spurt? During puberty, boys start to look older and more grown up, more like men. Getting a growth spurt can start for boys as young as age 10 or as old as age 15. So one boy might start growing tall in 4th grade, while another might not start growing until he's a freshman in high school. This is one reason why some boys are smaller than other boys, even when they're the same age. Boys who are smaller might wonder when they will get their growth spurt. And if you notice that a lot of girls are taller than you now, here's why. Girls start puberty a little earlier than boys, so they have a head start. Eventually, most boys catch up, and many will end up taller than the girls. Boys who get their growth spurt earlier may seem like the tallest guys around, but boys who get their growth spurt later can end up just as tall or even taller. It just happens when they're a little older. How can you know how tall you'll be? Well, that's a little bit of a mystery. It has something to do with how tall your mom and dad are. But kids can still end up shorter or taller than their parents. Would you like to be the tall guy who gets his growth spurt first? It's not always easy to be him. Boys who develop earlier than their friends might feel awkward, like they don't always know what to do with their large feet, long legs, and long arms. Now for question number 2. When will I get bigger muscles? Many boys would like to be big and muscular. But boys won't get bigger muscles until they go through puberty, even if they lift weights. But all boys can get stronger muscles by being active, like playing outside, swimming, bike riding, and sports. Doing chin-ups, sit-ups, and push-ups are good exercises to try too. Okay, if you've noticed some changes in your pants, you're probably going through puberty. Which leads us to question number 3. What's up down there? In puberty, hair starts to grow down there, and the penis and testicles get larger. But that's not all. During puberty, boys get erections. Erections can happen any time. Sometimes, an erection leads to ejaculation, when semen comes out of the penis. It is released through the urethra, which also carries urine or pee. Semen contains sperm, which can fertilize a woman's egg and begin the process that leads to a baby. When a boy ejaculates while sleeping, it's called a wet dream. Erections can be embarrassing, but they are 100% normal. They are one sign that a boy is growing up. Do you still have questions? We asked thousands of boys, when you have a question about puberty, who do you ask? Dad got the most votes. Yay, Dad! Guys also like to ask a friend, mom, or a brother. Do you know who else you can talk to about growing up? Your doctor. He or she is an expert on puberty. So if you have a question, be brave, boys. Ask someone.
All right. And that brings us to the end of puberty. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask your grown-up at home.
Okay, moving on to hygiene. Acne is something that develops because of hormone changes going on in the body during puberty. We develop more sebum, which is oil that is used to moisturize our hair and skin. And the more sebum we develop, the more our pores get clogged and can form pimples. There are many ways to keep acne away, which is to wash your face once or twice daily with warm water and soap, preferably facial cleanser. You don't want to touch your face a lot because that also adds more oil to the face. And if you have long hair, try to keep it out of your face and you want to wash it regularly. Sweating is normal. Our body likes a temperature that is 98.6 degrees. If you get hotter than this, your body doesn't like it, and then your body will sweat. The sweat comes out of the skin, then evaporates, which will help cool you down. During puberty, your hormones are working all the time, which explains why you sweat a lot and sometimes smell. So you want to shower or bathe regularly and wear deodorant. Now, there are some people that will sweat more than others, and if that's you, talk to your doctor or the grownups at home.
Alrighty, and then we're gonna talk about growth changes. So like the video said, not everybody grows at the same pace. Height is based on your genetics from your parents. And if you're ever worried about your height, you're able to talk to the grownups or a doctor. Girls get a head start on puberty and growing taller. Most boys catch up on the height difference, but it's also too important to remember that the genetics that your parents give you play a role.
Next, we're going to talk about self-gratification, which is also masturbation. Masturbation or self-pleasuring is touching and rubbing parts of your body for sexual pleasure. This is totally normal in both guys and girls, and it helps release tension. Erections in boys is when the penis fills up with blood and hardens. Like they talked about in the video, when you wake up, you may experience an erection or wet the bed, but you do not actually wet the bed. Nocturnal emission is another term for a wet dream, and a wet dream occurs when a boy starts making more testosterone. It's a sign that the body is growing and the body is preparing. Do not feel embarrassed or guilty. This is completely normal. And then next, we're going to move on to talk about female anatomy. In this picture, you can see that there's the fallopian tubes, the ovaries, the vagina, the uterus, and then there's also the uterine lining.
So first, we're going to talk about the vulva. So this is what covers the opening to the vagina and other reproductive organs that you have inside your body. It's located between the legs and covers the opening to the vagina and other reproductive organs in the body, as I said before.
Next, we have the labias, which are the inner and outer lips of the vulva. And each woman's labias look different and are unique to each woman. They are two pairs of skin flaps that surround the vaginal opening.
We have the clitoris. This is a small sensory organ located towards the front of the vulva, where the folds of the labia join. Then we have the vaginal opening, and this is just the entrance into the vagina.
And then comes the urethra opening. So this is the entrance to the urethra. This is where urine comes out of when you use the bathroom. It's between the labia. It's the canal that carries pee from the bladder to the outside of the body and the vagina. When girls become sexually mature, the outer labias and the manus pubis, the fleshy area just above the top of your vaginal opening, are covered by pubic hair.
Now for some internal anatomy. The vagina is a tube that extends from the vaginal opening to the uterus. The vagina is a muscular, hollow tube that extends from the vaginal opening to the uterus. Because of its muscular walls, the vagina can expand and contract. This ability to become wider and narrow allows the vagina to accommodate something as slim as a tampon or as wide as a baby. The vagina's muscular walls are lined with mucosous membranes, which keep it protected and moist. And there are 3 purposes that the vagina serves. 1, this is where the penis is inserted during sexual intercourse. 2, it's the pathway through which a baby leaves a woman's body during childbirth. And 3, it is the route through which menstrual blood leaves the body during your period.
Next, we're going to talk about the uterus, and this is where the fetus or the baby grows. It's also called a womb. It is a hollow, pear-shaped organ with a muscular wall, and the uterus wall sheds during a woman's period. These muscles are able to expand and contract to accommodate a growing fetus, and they help push the baby out during labor.
And then next we have the fallopian tubes, which these connect the uterus to the ovaries. The egg passes through the fallopian tubes if it's not fertilized, and if it is fertilized, the egg will implant into the uterus. Within each tube is a tiny passageway, no wider than a sewing needle. At the other end of the fallopian is a fringed area that looks like a funnel. This fringed area wraps around the ovary but doesn't completely attach to it. When an egg pops out of an ovary, it enters the fallopian tube, and once the egg is in the fallopian tube, tiny hairs in the tube's linings help push it down the narrow passageway towards the uterus.
So the ovaries are 2 oval-shaped organs that are at the upper right and left of the uterus. They produce, store, and release eggs into the fallopian tubes during ovulation. And the female sex hormones such as estrogen and progesterone are also produced.
So we're going to talk about eggs, or the ovum. Eggs are released monthly during a girl's period. An egg must be fertilized to become pregnant and create a baby. If the egg is not fertilized in the fallopian tube, it travels to the uterus and the lining of the uterus sheds and the woman starts her period. The egg and the lining of the uterus then get expelled through the vagina. A girl's first period is called the monarch.
And then next we're going to talk about the male anatomy. Then we're going to start with what's outside the body, external. So here we have a picture of the penis. The penis is made of 2 parts, the shaft, which is the main part, and the glands, which is the tip, also sometimes called the head. The penis delivers sperm through the urethra. At the end of the glands is a small slit or opening, which is where the semen or urine exit the body throughout the urethra. The inside of the penis is made out of a spongy tissue that can expand and contract.
The males also have a urethra opening, which again is the entrance to the urethra, and this is where urine comes out of the urethra from the bladder.
So next we're going to talk about the internal part of the male anatomy. And to start off, we're going to talk about the testes. The testes are 2 oval shapes that make and store millions of sperm cells and produce the male sex hormone testosterone. In a guy who reaches sexual maturity, the 2 oval-shaped testes make and store millions of tiny sperm cells. These testes are also part of the endocrine system because they make hormones, including testosterone. Testosterone is a major part of puberty in boys. As a guy makes his way through puberty, his testes produce more of it. Testosterone is a hormone that causes boys to develop deeper voices, bigger muscles, and facial hair. It also stimulates the production of sperm.
And then next we have the vas deferens. So this is just the tube that transports sperm from the epididymis to the urethra. It's alongside the testicles and just transports the sperm.
Next, we have the epididymis, which is a tube where sperm is stored next to each testicle, and from here, the sperms are transported to the vas deferens. And it is like a pouch-like structure, which is called the scrotum.
Next, we're going to talk about the prostate gland. This is a walnut-sized gland surrounding a portion of the urethra and produces some of the fluid in semen.
And then next we have the seminal vesicles. So they're located at the base of the bladder. The two vesicles secrete thick fluid to nourish the sperm. These are considered accessory glands, including, like I said, the seminal vesicles and the prostate gland, and they provide fluids that lubricate the duct system.
Now we're going to talk about the endocrine system, and we have a quick short video. So let me pull that up.
Kids Health presents How the Body Works with Chloe and the Nurse.
Hey, Nerb. I got here as soon as I could. Where are we going today? And why am I dressed like an old-timey hobo?
Isn't it obvious? We're going to learn about the endocrine system.
Yeah, that still makes no sense.
The glands of the endocrine system deliver chemicals called hormones to various parts of your body. They regulate the processes of your body and make sure all the hormones get where they need to go on schedule. And what else runs on schedule and delivers important goods?
Trains! Nerb, are we going to ride the endocrine rail? Oh, I've always wanted to.
Even better, Chloe.
Uh-oh.
We're riding the rails, all right, but not in a train. No, ma'am. We're taking this rusty old handcar.
Joy.
Each gland of the endocrine system produces chemicals called hormones, and each hormone has a different job. The glands are spread out through the body. A lot of them are controlled by a little gland near the base of your brain, called the pituitary.
Thyroid, increase production. Attention, ovaries. Let's get the estrogen rolling. I've got my own work to do here, too. Growth hormone coming up.
This guy's in charge of the entire endocrine system. This guy's tiny.
Who you calling tiny, skinny arm? I may be small, but I'm what makes you big.
It's true, Chloe. The pituitary gland produces growth hormone, which is what makes you grow big and tall. And as you can tell, he's used to giving orders.
I should be. I'm pretty important. Even though the pancreas makes insulin and the nervous system handles adrenaline, I'm still vital endocrine-wise. Now scram. I'm busy.
I hope our next gland is friendlier. Are all those trains hormones?
They sure are. They're my thyroid hormones.
That makes you the thyroid.
Right again. My hormones do a number of jobs, but one of the most important ones is regulating how fast your body uses the calories from the food you eat.
That's called metabolism.
Fancy word!
Next up, the adrenal glands.
Ooh, this should be exciting. Hold on. I thought the adrenal glands were in charge of handling danger and excitement and fun stuff like that. These guys aren't doing anything at all. Hey! Hey, you lazy glands! Wake up!
What? We're napping here.
Don't you think you should be doing your job?
This is our job. Listen, sister, the hormone we make is called adrenaline, and it's very powerful stuff. Only to be used in case of emergency. Is there an emergency?
No.
In that case... Ah, quick, behind you! Huge angry bear! And that, my friend, is the power of adrenaline. Wee-haw!
Those rascally glands.
But look how far we came. We thought we were in danger, so our powerful adrenaline kicked in and took us almost all the way to the next gland in 2 seconds flat.
What is that big lump over there?
This big lump is the pancreas. I'm the biggest gland of the endocrine system.
You certainly are. So what do you do, Lump?
Pancreas. I produce insulin. It's a chemical that helps you use energy from the food you eat.
One last question, Blum.
Pancreas. And yes.
Can I jump on you?
Go ahead.
Welcome to the final glands of the endocrine system, the reproductive glands. One of the most important things they do is make sure your body goes through the changes of puberty, so you can grow from a child to an adult.
I'm the ovaries. I oversee puberty in girls and excrete a hormone called estrogen.
And I'm the testes. I do the same for boys. My hormone is called testosterone.
Think of us like sports team coaches. I coach the girls' team. He coaches the boys' team.
Go, boy!
Girls rule!
You know, after a long day of pumping adrenaline and pumping a hand car, it feels great to kick back and relax. To the endocrine system, may it always stay on track.
All right, so that was a quick video on what the endocrine system is, and we are going to now go into more depth. So for the pituitary gland, this makes hormones such as the growth hormones, and it controls ovulation and menstrual cycle in the women. It signals the reproductive organs to make sex hormones.
These are the glands that release the hormones: the pineal gland, pancreas, hypothalamus, and adrenal glands.
And then next we have the reproductive glands, which produce testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. So like the video said, testosterone regulates a man's sex drive, bone mass, fat distribution, muscle mass, and strength. And it also helps with the production of red blood cells and sperm. Estrogen in a female is involved in the secondary sex characteristics, regulates the menstrual cycle, and controls the uterine growth lining, so the part that sheds and bleeds when you have your period. And progesterone prepares the endometrium for the potential of pregnancy after ovulation.
Next, we're going to talk about cell division. The first one is mitosis, and mitosis is for regulating body cells. This cell naturally divides and produces a cell just like the parent cell. So here on the left side of the picture.
And then we have meiosis, which is a process where a single cell divides twice to produce 4 cells containing half of the original amount of genetic information. Meiosis is for the sex cells, which are also called gametes. The male gamete is sperm. The female gamete is egg or ovum. When the sperm fertilizes the egg, this fertilized egg is called a zygote. And the zygote goes through a process of becoming an embryo and developing into a fetus. Both reproductive systems are needed for reproduction.
And then next we're going to have the fetal development. And so here is the picture. It just has a few milestones, but I'll go in a little bit more depth for that. So it only takes 1 sperm to fertilize an egg, and the fertilized egg is called a zygote, just like Jenna said. About 5 to 6 days after the sperm fertilizes the egg, it has become a multi-celled blastocyst. It is about the size of a pinhead, and it's a hollow ball of cells with fluid inside. This blastocyte then buries itself into the lining of the uterus, called the endometrium, and the hormone estrogen causes the endometrium to become thick and rich with blood. Progesterone then, another hormone released by the ovaries, keeps the endometrium thick with blood so that the blastocyst can attach to the uterus and absorb nutrients from it. This is also called implantation. So after about week 8, the embryo is about the size of a raspberry, but almost all of its parts, including the brain, nerves, heart, blood, stomach, intestines, and the muscles and skin have formed. During the fetal stage, which lasts from 9 weeks after fertilization to birth, Development continues as cells multiply, move, and change. The fetus floats in amniotic fluid inside the amniotic sac, which is in the mother's uterus, and it gets oxygen and nourishment from the mother's blood via the placenta. Pregnancy usually lasts an average of 280 days, about 9 months. So you can see a couple of the milestones here in the picture. And then once 9 months comes, which is usually 37 to like 42 weeks, then the baby will be born. And then if you have any other questions regarding puberty or fetal development, I would suggest that you ask your grown-up at home or your doctor, or the school nurse is a great resource as well.
And that was the end of our presentation.
Thanks, guys.